Just because you've retired doesn't mean you've lost your love of learning. That's why Play-Doh exists, to help turn retirement into your most enriching chapter yet. Right now, join Play-Doh Madison and participate in new classes starting next week, February 17th. Join to learn about current events, explore the Hollywood musical, or workshop your writing or art with other intellectually curious adults. All of these classes and more are included in your Play-Doh membership, now just $30. Become a member today at platomadison.org. That's Plato Madison.org. Today on City Cast Madison. Wallet Hub recently put out a study that says that Madison is one of the best cities for dating and for singles. What's your opinion on that, your reaction?
I would say it definitely is a good city for singles, but it keeps making more of them. The tendency to recycle and not stay in a relationship is pretty high too.
We're dedicating this entire week on the podcast to love and its many forms. We wanted to kick things off by hearing from you. Is Madison a good city for dating? Our team visited some of Madison's most iconic bars for dates, Robin Room and public parking, to get answers. And man, did y'all deliver. It's Monday, February 10th. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Hayley, I heard Madison is one of the best cities for singles and dating.
That's what they're saying. Yes. According to a report from Wallet Hub last year, Madison was rated as the 7th best city for dating. Who'd have thought?
I don't know. Do you think the people who did the study or survey were met their person here and...
Someone really loves Madison. I will say, whether you believe the study or not, and we'll get into it, how it was conducted and whatnot, but people love Madison itself. People love the city. People got a lot of love for this place. Everyone's always like, I love my time there.
Yeah, happy people don't kill their husbands.
Exactly.
Legally Blonde. Endorphins make you happy. Madison has happy people. Tell us, so how was it determined that we're number 7?
Yeah. So researchers looked at 182 cities, which is kind of a really random number, but they took the 150 most populated cities in the US, plus at least 2 of the most populated cities in each state. And of course, there's some overlap there, right? And they compared the cities on 35 different metrics across 3 categories. And those categories were economics, fun and recreation, and dating opportunities. So breaking that down even further, when I say economics, that means how affordable is this city's dating opportunity? What's the cost of dining, housing affordability, household income? I know they looked at the price of dinner. They looked at the average price of drinks and beer and wine. And of course, Madison, there's a range, right? You can get a $14 cocktail. You can get a $4 cocktail, and they will get the job done all the same, right?
We're looking at you, Plaza Bar.
I love me some Plaza.
$4 tequila, or what is that tequila? Sunrise. What is that?
Long Island iced tea. Oh, you don't even have to ask me. I know right away. And then fun and recreation, of course, they're looking at restaurant scene, nightlife. Is it walkable? What's the safety like? And then the biggest weight that they put into this rating is genuinely dating opportunities. So they're looking at the number of singles, and this was based on census data. So it's single, non-married people, or they're widowed or divorced, what have you. We're not counting anyone out. And then they're also looking at online dating statistics and the ratio of singles by gender. So to note, they really are looking at straight-based relationships for this study. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Bianca? Do you buy it? Is Madison one of the best places for dating?
By those metrics, I'd say, yeah, I get it. I mean, let's just talk about cheap beer. It's so annoying when people that we love come back to the city and they're like, oh, I just need to get my cheap beer. I mean, it should be good. It almost feels a little snobby. Just you guys' prices are so low. I've totally forgotten what that's like. But that's really good if you want to go on dates and like multiple dates. Like we've talked to so many people, and I feel like just the idea that sometimes people like go on more than one date in one night, like that price factor is a thing.
And the opportunity for bar hopping is great, but also that plays into one, the affordability aspect, but two, the walkability aspect or transportation. Now that we have BRT, shout out to BRT, it's not hard to literally just walk down the street and hit up like 4 different bars. But also, aside from bars, Madison does have a lot of other things to offer. You know, I love me a good like walk to Picnic Point date. And if you don't have to pay for parking, that's completely free, right? We love it. We love to see it.
You do have to pay for parking outside of Picnic Point sometimes. I know because
yeah, sometimes you do. Sometimes you do because I got a ticket there once.
Yeah, guilty. I mean, the restaurant scene, we have a show dedicated to food every Thursday. Like, we're stacked, like, for sure. And then singles, I feel like all the people coming into the university, like, it does make sense to me. And especially if you are some of those people who are at the university, boo up one of your other grad students. Like, you know, just like, I've seen it happen. Like, this whole department, all of a sudden, 3 of you guys are engaged. So I do believe it. How about you?
I believe it. I think as someone who has been in the Madison dating scene for 10 plus years, I go so hot and cold, right? There are always opportunities, but at the end of the day, I do truly believe that Madison is such a small town, and I often see the same people cycling through on apps all the time. And I'm like, you're still here. But then I'm like, well, so am I. Yikes. But yeah, no, like you mentioned the university. I mean, there's also like so many other big tech companies now too that are bringing in, I think, just like a lot of younger folks into Madison. Shout out to Epic, right? I mean, how many 22-year-olds can we fly in to Madison every year? They're all single, ready to mingle. And like a lot of the time too, they are people who just recently got done with undergrad or just recently got done with school and, you know, are looking for a new adventure and coming to a university town. There's a lot of like-minded people like that. So I think there are a lot of really great opportunities. I think Madison is a pretty social place. Like Midwest in general, people are ready to talk to you and just kind of say hi. So it makes the conversations, I think, flow a little bit easier, makes dating a little bit more fun. And yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I go so hot and cold. It's such a loaded question. And is Madison a good place for dating? Man, I've had the best of times and I've had the worst of times. That's all I'll say.
Right. Just to keep it real, like when I was in the dating scene, so obviously I've been booed up, so +1 to it being a good place to meet someone. And I feel like there were a lot of people who were maybe in like this stage where they didn't necessarily ever like need to grow up, kind of. I'm talking about dudes like, not to be so cruel, but like Arrested Development, just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, you know, and that's why you see the same people over and over again. And Hayley, if you and I were single, we'd be like, have you dated this person? Like, because it's that small. One person I dated for a month just assumed I knew that he dated like one of my friends. And he was shocked when I thought, he's like, you guys never talked about it? I'm like, I guess it didn't come up.
It's wild. It's a small pool. And then the pool gets even smaller too when you're talking about queer spaces, right? It's really easy to kind of run through the whole scene pretty fast.
And you have a lot of queer friends. To out you.
Yes, to
and
out
me as
well. All my girlies are gay and I love them. And yeah, they're all just kind of like, are you sure about this? But it's like, I get it. Because as the study shows, looking at these factors on paper, yes, Madison has it. We've got it down. There is a lot of good stuff happening here. But in practice, is it all happening? I think you're getting a lot more of those failure to launch situations and boys who are just down for situationships and not really looking to really even date. People are just kind of like looking for hookups. And it's a weird scene, I think, since the explosion of online dating, too.
Yes, it is such a strange scene and all of the nuances. And I could literally talk to you about this for probably another hour. But we hit the streets to find out. And by streets, I mean we went to 2 of Madison's hottest bars to really ask about like what is happening with Madison's dating scene. With no further ado, let's hear what y'all had to say, the good folks of Madison, about is Madison one of the best cities for singles and dating? So tell us, what's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, and how long have you been in Madison?
I have been in Madison cumulatively like 6 years, but most recently this time just under a year. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not single, but for my friends that are, they would disagree with that statement. They would say that their Hinge is pretty dry, and if you're like a recent alumni, then your addressable market gets a lot smaller. So they seem to be going through it and kind of enjoying it, but haven't had too much success so far.
My name is Sean.
Sean, and how long have you been in Madison?
3.5, 4 years. Through the nature of the people that I work with, we're a lot of like transplants from really like all over the world coming in, and most of the people that I work with have usually ended up finding other people in the workplace who are also Madison transplants. One of my friends just got married to a French national. He's a Japanese national, and they met they happened to meet here in the city because they were both here.
Hi, I'm TG.
How long have you lived in Madison?
Since 2019.
So, Wallet Hub says that Madison is one of the best cities in the nation for dating and for singles. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I just laughed, but I don't know. I think it depends. I came from a big city, from Arizona, from Phoenix. So I think here was a little bit harder for me just because maybe like hobby-wise didn't like link up, because if you go online, it's a lot of guys holding fishes or holding a deer head, and that is just not my thing. So
That's so fair. That's so fair. There's too many dead fish on Tinder.
How did that even happen? But agreed, lots of them. All right, hello, and what is your name?
Erica. I've been in Madison since 2018. I'm in a relationship now, but when I was single, it was, I don't know, even my friends struggled, So there are just like a lot of different circles of people here, and you have to really expand outside of your circle to really meet somebody that is somebody new, because it is a very intimate city as well. If you're not looking for dating your friends, then you really do have to expand and try new things and go to different places to meet new people.
Yeah, how many bars do you go to, Hayley? And it's like, I've dated 5 people in here.
Yeah, sometimes
They're all here, all at once.
I'll be in a place and I'm like, immediately I need to leave. Immediately we have to go.
I'm Monica. I went to college here, so that was since like 2011, 14 years. I am single. I dabble in and out of re-downloading and then deleting Hinge, and occasionally going on dates when I re-download and then deleting. I would say the majority of my friends in Madison are not single. The majority of my friends in Madison are in like long-term stable relationships. It might depend on I feel like it's a little bit different between my maybe straight friends and my more queer friends. More of my straight friends I would say are in long-term, either married or long-term partnerships. It seems like those friends want to settle down and buy houses in Madison, and I don't know. There's it feels like a smaller pool on that all are single and looking to date. I think I have 2 other friends who are single, but we'll send each other profiles and be like, have you seen this person? Have you gone on a date with them? Are they a yes or are they a no? And it feels weird, and we joke that we call it fishing in the same puddle.
I'm Anna. I pretty much grew up around this area, so I've been here my whole life. I say yes and no. I do think that it's really good for the aspect of dating multiple people and being really fluid. I think people here a lot of time are interested in dating lots of people and they just want to have fun and get to know people, but I'm more of somebody who wants to date in a committed fashion, one person, and I think that is hard in our dating scene. Everybody's more looking for casual.
Someone cue Chapel Roan's casual, knee deep in the passenger seat.
Let's be honest. Just because you've retired doesn't mean you've stopped wondering, exploring, and learning. That's why Plato is here. It's here to help you turn retirement into your most curious and enriching chapter yet. Plato Madison connects intellectually curious adults through special interest classes, fascinating lectures, social activities, and cultural outings around Wisconsin. Right now, you can join Plato and participate in these upcoming classes. Try chair yoga, explore the musical evolution of the Beatles, or dive into the nuances of global affairs. All of these classes and more are included in a Plato membership. Plus, it's more affordable than ever to invest in your love of learning. Half your memberships are only $30. Become a member today at platomadison.org. That's PLATO Madison.org. Don't wait. New classes start next week on February 17th.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
We also asked our kind participants about good date stories, and meaning good or particularly bad dating experiences. Here's Anna, who we just heard from.
I am a very bad dater, I would say, in that, like, I get the ick really easily when I date people, and then I'm really bad at telling them, like, I got the ick, so then I just kind of ghost them. I'm a habitual ghoster. I understand it's a problem. If people get like, okay, I know I just said that I was a committed dater, but if people like after the first date are like, oh my God, like you were the greatest, spend the night, like I want to date you like real seriously, I'm like, whoa, I do not know you well enough for that. Like, do I want to commit to dating you? Like, yeah, but like, let's talk about the serious stuff after like, I don't know, at least 2 weeks. Like, come on.
That's so real. Everything Anna said. Oh my God. But girl, we are leaving ghosting in the past. We're leaving it behind.
I've seen an article that says that ghosting can be important.
I think that like there's a time and a place, right? I'm a big fan of a gentle text to be like, hey, I had a good time. I'm not feeling it. I'll see you later. And sometimes I think there are those I've had a couple of relationships that just kind of like fizzle out where it's like, you don't text back. I don't text back. Did anyone really ghost each other? I don't know. My rule of thumb, though, as someone who also really easily gets the ick, if I had a generally good time, I do try to always say yes to a second date.
That's a good rule of thumb. And then this next one is Gigi, who we heard coming from Phoenix, who's like, I'm not about them dead fish holding men. She had a really good date.
Oh my God. I dated a guy once and his car was a hearse. So a whole hearse. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
It was like funny at first, but then I was like, okay, I'm good.
I'm obsessed with this one because my sister, like, throughout forever since high school is like, I'm going to get a hearse. Like, you know, I'm Miss Cool. I'm going to get a hearse. And I always thought that is kind of a cool idea. And so I love that. But it's hilarious. She's like, at first she thought, yeah, this is kind of cool. And then she's like, this sucks in reality.
That's a bit that I think could go too far. It's fun to be like, oh my God, yeah, I drive a hearse. But like after the second time when you're picking me up in the hearse, I think it's a no from me. I'll drive. Actually, I'm good.
Yeah. And when we were doing this process, we thought to ourselves, you know, it'd be really smart to ask Madison's bartenders about their experiences witnessing the dating scene and like if they had seen some good dates that they have any stories for. Let's start here with Annie, the bar manager from Robin Room on East Johnson.
Another time, this was right after the pandemic. It was kind of letting up and people were having spring fever in 2021, and at the end of the night she was trying to copulate with a guy right outside of our window, and that wasn't what we wanted to see. We had to keep banging on the door or on the windows to tell her to like move to an alleyway.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I know you see it all.
Yeah, it's not always what you want to see after a long shift. Maybe for some people, I don't know.
Not very demure, not very mindful.
Period.
My name's Matthew.
Do you have any funny date stories? I know you're behind the bar. You probably hear a lot.
Yeah, tons of them. We've seen all of them at some point or another. My favorite is this lady who called out a guy for only talking about himself for over an hour. And the funny part was she did it pretty directly, and he did not even pick up on it. So it just became an inside joke between me and her for the rest of the night.
From my perspective, it's always funny just hearing the first initial meetup. You're like, oh, this is a first date, and they've never met. I'm going to listen in, you know? So I kind of find it entertaining when it's not going well. Just the awkwardness, and it's my favorite part is when I'm like, do you want another? Are you sticking around for this or not? Sometimes I do, and I'm surprised. However, a lot of times, from my perspective, I just catch people making out, and another bar I worked at, I tried to grab my coat from the closet after I got cut, and there's a couple making out there, and I'm like, all right, can you guys get out of here because you're not supposed to be in here?
I love that. It's I'm just going to squeeze right past you to get my coat. Please stop.
I've definitely served people dinner at Notchville, but they're just making out. And I'm like, I hope they didn't touch their food for a really long time. I'm like, I hope you guys know it's there. It's dark in here.
It's dark in here, isn't it? Huh?
Here's a wholesome story where I have seen, I've done about, I would say 13 to 15 weddings where that Tinder date met at my bar, and they asked me to be their bartender. So that's actually really cute. But I'm not going to tell you the bad ones.
We know he has so many bad ones. He was so humble and demure. JR was being demure.
Very demure, very mindful.
We also asked people, what is their ideal date in Madison? We heard a lot of good answers.
Dinner at Turnkey. Maybe drinks after, stargazing near Black Earth. There's a glacial overlook that's really good. Then see what happens from there, depending on the vibe.
I think that the ideal Madison date really depends on who you are as a person. And I think that's what makes Madison so ideal for dating, is because it really caters to a bunch of different personalities. You have, the bar scene, you have the outdoorsy scene, you have the art scenes, you have all of those spots where you can go and choose your own adventure, if you will.
If you're venturing to the west side, going to Valentine, Scoffland, getting 100 or 2 bucket of balls and just whacking them on the driving range with some pitchers of beer, and then going to Le Tigre for a cocktail afterwards.
I would say you probably start at Muskie Lounge just to get things going, enjoy the atmosphere, and then maybe you make your way across town with Greenbush Bar Pizza, which is one of our favorite spots. We love to go there. And then probably end the night over at Ounce by Ounce for a drink, and then probably call it a night from there.
I would start off with lunch at a Han, and then if it's going well for lunch, I'd be let's hang out, let's maybe bar hop a little bit or walk around, and then I would like to take them to dinner to Fairchild if it's really going well. That's if it's really going well. And then if after Fairchild, I think I would just take them to my favorite bars, and then that'd be my 3-step process. Which, I don't know, Jenna's, Robin Room, Maduro, Wisco. I mean, there's so many places in Madison now, so.
If you want a classy date, I'm usually looking for something at the Orpheum or some kind of live music. Specifically, I like High Noon because it's a more intimate venue. Any new, something that's a $20 ticket, that's one of my favorites because you find new music. And then typically dinner is always involved, so we've been going to a Han as well, which is delicious, or if we're feeling it, Fairchild, and get some, pair some wine with the food. That's one of my favorite things too. And then, being in bed by 10:30 is my favorite part, so.
What is the ideal Madison date for you?
Oh my God, I'm the worst person to ask, dude. I think there's too many expectations or pressures to have this whole thing planned out and go do some activity that you've never done and pretend to be interested in, which is you're starting a relationship on the foundation of lies.
Those are some great places. There's a lot of great recommendations in there. I love Rob's honesty. I just snort laughed like listening back. But he's so right. Like, you don't have to put pressure on it, you know? And I think you kind of hear that throughout some of those recommendations too. Like, there's some sauntering, there's some moving from spots, kind of feeling the feels.
People really shouting out Ahan and Fairchild, very date spots, I guess.
Yes.
I do love a brunch date. I'm not going to lie. I think my favorite would be brunch at Sardine. That's always a great way to start. And then if it's going well, you can either go up the street toward the Capitol, bounce around the square, or down the street to Willie Street and bounce around over there. So many opportunities, shops, bars, of course, more restaurants, things to do, people to see, sights to behold.
Hayley, we had so much fun, didn't we? This was like one of our more fun assignments that we gave ourselves.
I want to do it again.
That's the City Cast Madison team. Hayley Sperling, Jade Isiri Ramos behind the scenes, producing the audio, me and you. Thanks to all of you brave, beautiful souls who participated. We had so much fun. And hey, if you're listening and you got takes, what are your thoughts on the Madison dating scene? Is it strong? Are those apps actually running dry? Leave us a voicemail at 608-318-3367 or write us an email at madison@citycast.fm. That's all for today. Here on City Cast Madison, I'm Bianca Martin, your host. If you enjoyed this show, why not share this episode with someone who's looking for their someone? We'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, love on.